He had the visa, he had the credentials. FIFA had invited him by name. Omar Artan was named Africa's best referee of 2025, and he was flying into Miami to officiate the biggest tournament on earth. He never made it out of the airport. He was turned around and put on a plane back to Istanbul, not for anything he did, for the passport he carried. You probably assumed the threats to this World Cup would come from the field. A bad call, an early exit, they won't. The most dangerous moment of this tournament isn't on the field at all. It's at the border. This is the open door test. Every nation that hosts the World Cup makes the same promise to the planet. Come as you are, all of you, and we will let you in. That's the deal. That's the whole point. The United States made that promise back in 2018, and now, live in front of 5 billion people, it's being tested like no host before it. I'm going to show you exactly how. The teams that couldn't board their flights, the agents waiting inside the stadiums, and the one number that says even Americans believe this has gone too far. But it starts at the door. The travel ban came first. 19 nations. 12 barred from entering the United States outright. 7 more under tight restriction. Citizens of those countries turned back at the consulate or the gate. The visa backlogs piled up for months. Applications with nowhere to go. And one of those countries had a team in this tournament. Iran, a soccer nation, qualified, ready to play, from a list the United States had sealed shut. Qualified on the field, banned at the border. So here's where it gets complicated, because the administration saw this coming. Written into the ban is an exception, a carve-out for the World Cup itself. Athletes, coaches, support staff, their immediate families. If you wear the badge of a national team, the door stays open for you. The players were never the problem. The problem is everyone who travels behind them. The exception stops at the team bus. It doesn't cover the fans who saved for 4 years to be there. It doesn't cover the journalists sent to film it. And it didn't cover Omar Artan, the referee FIFA flew in to officiate, holding the wrong passport. A World Cup is not 11 men on a field. It's the millions who follow them across an ocean. That's the part the carve-out forgot. And yet, here's the twist most people miss. When Americans were asked whether Iran, a banned nation, should be allowed to play, 3 out of 4 said yes. Let them in. Let them play. The country closing the door and the people inside it were not saying the same thing, which raises the real question. If the players get in, and most Americans want the world to come, then who exactly is the security for? And why are they waiting inside the stadium? The agents were always coming. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed it. ICE will be inside the World Cup stadiums, and the man in charge, Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, has been blunt about why. Securing this tournament, he says, is like staging 78 Super Bowls in 38 days. The agents are there for the counterfeit tickets, the trafficking, the smuggling, security, nothing more. That's the case for it, and it's not a weak one. An event this size is a target. But here's the other side. The same agency running security is the agency carrying out the most aggressive immigration crackdown in modern American history. And its own officials won't quite say the two are separate. Asked directly whether immigration enforcement was off the table at the games, the answer was no. It's never off the table. So the country split. The workers at SoFi Stadium, the cooks, the cleaners, the servers, voted to strike, afraid of who might be waiting at the gate. England's official LGBTQ supporters club announced it would stay home. More than 120 rights groups issued a travel warning to the entire world. And in Los Angeles, the protests had already started. Here's where you have to decide for yourself. The administration calls it security. Its critics call it a message. Is a federal agent at the turnstile there to protect the crowd or to remind the crowd who's watching? There's an honest argument on both sides, and the comment section is the place to make it. Because for a moment, it looked like the worst case was coming true. A World Cup the world was afraid to attend. Empty seats. A host that threw a party for a planet too frightened to come. And then the numbers came back. 65%. Nearly 2 out of every 3 Americans said they did not want ICE agents inside the World Cup stadiums. Only 35% supported it. That's the Washington Post and the University of Maryland, a clean national poll taken in the weeks before kickoff. And the breakdown tells the real story. 92% of Democrats against, 74% of independents against, but 72% of Republicans in favor. This didn't split the country down the middle. It split it down the line it always splits on. So this was never the world versus America. It was America arguing with itself about what kind of host it wants to be. Remember the open door test. Every host promises the planet, come as you are, and we'll let you in. We thought the test was about the visitors, whether they'd be allowed through. It wasn't. The test was always about the host. Whether a country, handed the world's biggest stage, would open the door it spent years learning to lock. And the strange, quiet answer buried in that poll is that the instinct to open it is still there. 2/3 said no to the agents. 3/4 said he let Iran play. The doorkeepers and the public were not the same people. Omar Artan never got to officiate. The referee FIFA invited went home. That image will outlast every goal scored this summer. But the World Cup doesn't reveal the world. It reveals the host. And for the next month, in front of 5 billion people, America is finding out, in real time, exactly who's been holding the keys. Next, the story of how soccer quietly conquered this country. The 30-year takeover that ends this summer. It's the video at the top of the screen. Go watch it.